I'm John Metcalfe. This video is about my top 3 favourite pieces of training equipment that I like to use during the winter. Now, for those of you who follow my YouTube channel and my Instagram account, you'll know I'm a big fan of training outside with minimal equipment. However, during the winter there are a few little pieces of kit that I like to use just to make life a little bit easier and a little bit more comfortable. First off is the skipping rope. I really like to use skipping as part of my warm-up during the winter because I find it an efficient way to get my body temperature up nice and quickly, ready for the workout. And if it's really cold outside, I'll use skipping, nice easy skipping as a recovery in between the exercises, just to make sure my body temperature doesn't dip down. Now, the kind of rope that I like to use is a relatively cheap rope. The reason for that is when I'm skipping outside, it's usually on hard surfaces and the middle of the rope really takes a battering, and what I find is I go through several ropes in a typical winter. Now, there are very cheap ones on the market and I've experimented with those, and they really do only last a short period. So this one here cost me about £10, and a couple of key things that I like to look out for are nice big handles with a good diameter. The part of the handle that comes in contact with the rope has to be smooth, otherwise if it's jagged it'll cut through the rope very quickly. They won't last long. And I like to have about a 5mm diameter to the rope. The cheaper ropes are a lot thinner, they're too light, they don't really work and they don't last that long. So that's piece of equipment number 1. Okay, so the second piece of equipment is the humble nitrile glove. This is the sort of thing you can find in a DIY store or a hardware store. And I got into using these when I was training with Steve Maxwell, who's a really big fan of them. Great news is they're super cheap. These cost me £1, and they're super thin, and I've got still got a lot of dexterity when I'm training. Now, I like to use gloves during winter because when I'm doing my bodyweight exercises such as press-ups, obviously my hands are on the ground, and when it's cold and wet, it's not good on the hands or the skin, and it's not very comfortable. So these come in really useful with those. When I'm training in the parks, on playground equipment and stuff like that, it just allows me to get a better grip on wet surfaces, especially so when I'm doing pull-ups, say on a bar that's got enamel coating or powder coating. If it's a bit wet, I find it very slippy, so these just give me that little bit of extra grip. Now, I don't tend to like to use gloves during the summer because I like my hands to touch the ground and get earthed and have a grounding effect. But during the winter, I do sacrifice that benefit for the comfort of using gloves and the safety of using gloves. So the third piece of equipment is a continuation of the grounding and earthing theme. What I like to do with most of my footwear is to put a copper rivet into the sole. Okay, so this allows me to be grounded and earthed when I'm walking around and training outside. Now, obviously, when I put the copper rivet into the sole of my shoe, I'm puncturing the sole and it's no longer waterproof. So what I used to do is really make sure that the rivet was pressed in against the sole, and for the best part it was waterproof. But what I was starting to find was during say extended workouts outside, inevitably there'd be water ingress into the shoe, which again is not comfortable. So what I do now is when I put the rivet in, I put a little bit of silicone sealant on the inside face of the rivet, and then push that against the sole, fit the rivet correctly, and wipe off the excess silicone. And what I've found is that makes the perfect seal. So I can still get the grounding effect even though I'm not wearing the gloves, and my feet are nice and dry. So those are my 3 top pieces of training equipment for the winter: the skipping rope, the nitrile glove, and the copper rivet with silicone seal to allow me to be grounded and earthed and stay waterproof. So I hope you liked the video. If you did, please like it and please subscribe.